What's up guys, Dylan Sider with Kinfolk Carpentry here, and today I'm working on my own house, just trying to make something out of nothing. I've renovated a good amount of my house over the years, but there's a few spots in my house that have never been touched, and this is one of them. It's the landing at the top of my stairs. We've done very minimal in here. I think the only thing I've done is put a light in here, and I actually eliminated some of the electrical because we did a renovation to a master bedroom over here, and there were some wires in the way. But today, this is kind of what I'm tackling. This attic access right here is awful. It leaks a ton of air. As you can see, there's a massive gap along here and it doesn't even fully shut. And it's been on my list for quite some time, and we're gonna start to renovate this whole space. I have an old attic fan here that I'm gonna take out of the ceiling, drywall that, and take the electric from it and put in some can lights, and then paint the whole space. And that is the full renovation, and that won't be fully included in this video, but I am going to tackle the attic doorway. So that's on my list for today. So stick around if you want to see me work on that, maybe do some painting and some renovating in my own house and make something out of nothing, because I'm gonna only use the stuff I have kicking around my house because I don't want to spend any money. And that's life, so. Yeah. Whoever thought flathead screws are a good idea? Flathead screws with paint. Awful. All right, last screw. It's crazy to think this thing was probably put up here like 100 years ago. Probably built by some farmer, no doubt. All right, last screw. All right, gonna do some trimming up with my track saw. I squared things up where they need to be. Try not to breathe that stuff in. It's probably lead-based paint. Might need to finish that off with a little tiny saw. All right, so in trimming this thing up, it still doesn't shut. It hits way down at the bottom over here before it even comes close to closing. This trim, the drywall was butted up to it, so it's really only sticking out of the drywall like 1/4 of an inch. So I think my plan is just to overlay this trim with some new trim and a new header piece up there, and just adjust, adjust the latch out here. And then when I'm all done, just work on building a stop in there that will meet the door, and I could put a weather, like a seal on it so that it doesn't leak so much air. I think that's my plan. This is life. Kids get in a bath, I'm trimming a door. You know, that's what you gotta do. That's what you gotta do. All right, so the ceiling is significantly out of level, which I'm not surprised about in the slightest. All right, so I got the header on and I'm gonna overlay this trim. But right here, this sill is nasty. I don't know necessarily what their thoughts were, so I'm gonna just cut a straight line across here, cut all that out, and then get that out, and I'm just gonna put on some piece of 5/4 that I can find kicking around my house, and just make a new looking sill that'll get painted white, and maybe put an apron on it as well, and then put this piece of trim on last. It's gonna get loud. Nice. That actually was easier than I thought it would be. So that old nasty nosing is gone, and now I can put a nice new nosing there. Make it look all pretty. This is where I go to find all the stuff that has been left over or junk from my house. Look at this. That might make a nice nosing there. Look at that. And then I don't have to even do an apron. I could just nail that puppy on. I don't know what that is. Some chair rail or something. I pulled out of some house. I'm not as pack radish as I used to be. I used to be very pack radish. Anything I'd pull out, I would save if it was any sort of long length. But look at that. Boom. Look at the profile on that. Yeah, that'll work perfect. Just put that along the bottom, miter the end, and yeah, that's my nosing. Someone's upset upstairs. Dance party. And then we will have our sill. I'm just doing this in my van. No use getting more tools out than I need to. Oh, if I can get the glue out. Come on, you prick. Wonderful. And the return is on. Free, no money. Free, no money. I remember pulling that off a job like 4 years ago, and it's sat in my basement ever since, so might as well use that stuff up. Now I'm just gonna rip another piece of trim the same width as this and overlay that, and I might take it down in thickness a little bit just so it lines up nice, but yeah, we are making progress. All right, so now to just overlay this trim to give it a little bigger profile, make it boom shakalaka. Looks more like a door now instead of some old farm piece of junk. All right, so I'm transitioning to quiet work because my kids are napping. I think something that I'm learning throughout the years of working on my own house and being a contractor, and something that used to really frustrate me, is I can't afford the work I actually do. So what I mean by that is I'll install beautiful kitchens and built-ins and do big finished basements with big budgets, and I'm capable of doing really high quality work. But when it comes to my own house, I have 4 children and my wife doesn't work, and yeah, we live on a little bit tighter budget than some of the people I work for, and so I can't afford the material I would love to use on jobs, and I don't necessarily have all the resources to dump just tons of money into my house. As much as I'm getting all the labor for free, I have to get creative on how I do things. And I think it also comes down to time as well. When you have 4 kids at home, little ones, time is very valuable, and I don't want to spend all my time doing renovations on my house. Even though I want stuff to look nice, I don't want to spend every night and weekend working on my house. So a project like this, as you can see, the reveal is not perfect here, but this piece of wood was free. This was free. I mean, it was bought at some point, but it was just kicking around my house. And that's what you got to do on your own house. And like I said before, sometimes finished is better than perfect. So that's my word of wisdom for today. All right, we're getting into some paint here. I filled all the nail holes and caulked all the trim. And I'm not getting into drywall today, so I'm going to paint the walls I can paint. This is paint that's left over from a job. Another freebie. It's kicking around in our basement. It was a paint misorder, and it's like, I think it's called light French gray, so can't go wrong with just a neutral gray color. So I think another thing I've learned over the years is your house should dictate the amount of effort and work you put into it. You know, I live in a 120-year-old house. Some of the floors are extremely out of level and the ceilings are all wonky. Nothing is square. And it's a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath. You know, it's only worth so much money. So to be putting massive amounts of effort into things, which I did in the past, I went way overboard with trims and different details when I don't think I'll ever get my money back out of that. And that's fine if you plan to spend your life in that house and you love what you love and you don't ever plan on moving. I think I plan on moving on from this house and finding a different house at some point. But I think in the past I probably would have ripped that door out and reframed an opening and got a new door and made it look all perfect and pretty. And now I'm at the point where done is better than perfect. And when you have 4 little kids running around and limited amount of time to spend on stuff, you just get it done, make it look better than when you started. Kind of enjoy painting, really. It's relaxing. It's just quiet, doing a brush, and it used to really frustrate me because I wasn't very good at it. It's not to say that I'm a pro now, but I've gotten a lot better. Alright guys, this is the finished product. Not yet painted, but I did get some painting done over here. I got some drywall to do, but that's for another day. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you on the next video.